Hey everyone, and welcome to the Boss Visionary Hub, the channel where future leaders rise. Today I'm sharing one of the most powerful stories from my own life. It's a raw look at hitting absolute rock bottom, but more importantly, it's about the mindset hacks and life strategies that I use to climb back up and become the visionary boss of my own life. If you're a person who refuses to settle and you're ready to level up, make sure you subscribe and unlock your next level. This story is for you. You get a lot of emails when you're deployed. Updates from home, chain letters from that one aunt, spam promising you $1 million. But one email I got wasn't any of those. It was short, to the point. And it started with, "I don't think this is working anymore." Imagine this. You're in the middle of a desert, thousands of miles from home. The air is thick with dust, the sun is relentless, and your entire world is about routine and duty. Then you open your laptop, and in the cold blue light of the screen, you find out your marriage has been downloaded, deleted, and sent to the trash folder. Yep, I got divorced by email. While deployed, I wish I could say I handled it like a movie hero, that I stood up, looked stoically into the sunset, and whispered something profound. Nope. I just stared at the screen. I think I read it about 50 times, as if a different combination of pixels would change the words. It felt less like a tragedy and more like a really, really bad joke. Apparently, Till Death Do Us Part had a fine print section about good Wi-Fi signal strength. The flight home was the longest of my life. I wasn't just coming home to an empty house. I was coming home to a life that had been completely bulldozed while I was away. Half the furniture was gone. The joint bank account was, well, let's just say it had gone on a serious diet, and I was left standing in the echo of my own living room, a soldier who could handle a firefight, but had no idea how to handle a future that had just been canceled. That was my rock bottom. A 30-something guy, sleeping on an air mattress in his own house, eating cereal for dinner, and wondering how it all went so wrong. I was adrift, and for a while I let myself drift. I wallowed, I watched terrible daytime TV. I think I set a world record for staring at a ceiling. But then one morning, something shifted. It wasn't a lightning bolt moment. It was small, it was stupid even. I was looking at my unmade bed, a chaotic mess of sheets and pillows, and I thought, that looks exactly like my life. And a tiny voice in my head, a voice I hadn't heard in a while, said, "You can't fix your life right now, but you can make the bed." So I did. I pulled the sheets tight, I fluffed the pillows. It took 2 minutes. And for the first time in months, one small corner of my world wasn't a complete disaster. It was a tiny victory, but it was a victory, and it was mine. That stupid, simple act of making my bed became my secret weapon. It was the first domino. I told myself, okay, what's next? What's one more thing I can control? I couldn't control that email. I couldn't control the empty bank account, but I could control what I did next. The next domino was my body. I was out of shape, fueled by stress and sadness. So I made a simple rule. Every day I had to do something physical. I didn't sign up for a marathon. I started with 10 push-ups and a walk around the block. That's it. Some days it felt great. Other days I felt like a wheezing bag of potatoes, but I did it. The goal wasn't to get a six-pack. The goal was to keep a promise to myself. The next domino was my mind. My brain felt like scrambled eggs. So another simple rule: read one page of a nonfiction book every day. Just one page. I picked up a book about personal finance. It was terrifying. All these words like investing, assets, 401k. It felt like a foreign language. But I read one page. Then the next day, another. Making the bed. 10 push-ups. One page of a book. This was my new routine. This was my discipline. And discipline, I learned, isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. It's about building a raft piece by piece when you're lost at sea. Each disciplined act was another plank in my raft. Now let's talk about the money, because this is where things get really interesting. That book I was reading, it started to make sense. I looked at my financial situation, and it was just like my unmade bed, a total mess. Random spending, forgotten subscriptions, and a vague sense of panic every time I thought about retirement. I realized the same principle applied. I couldn't become a millionaire overnight, but I could control one thing. So I started with my latte factor, but for me, it was the daily Monster energy drink and gas station burrito factor. I tracked my spending for 1 week, not to judge myself, but just to see where the money was actually going. I was spending a small fortune on things I didn't even remember buying. It was like having a hole in my pocket. My first financial discipline rule was this: pay myself first. Before I paid rent, before I bought groceries, before anything, I set up an automatic transfer of just $50 from my paycheck into a separate savings account. That was it, 50 bucks. It felt small, almost pointless. But then I applied the second rule I learned: automate it. I automated that savings transfer. I automated my bill payments. I took the thinking and the "I'll do it later" out of the equation. My financial discipline was now running on autopilot. The savings grew. Slowly at first, $50 became $100. That emergency fund, which the book called a freedom fund, started to look less like a fantasy and more like a reality. It was a buffer between me and the world. A car repair wasn't a crisis anymore. It was an inconvenience. Then came the big, scary monster: investing. I always thought investing was for rich guys in suits who yell, "Buy, sell," into 2 phones at once. But the book explained it so simply. Investing is just your money going to work to make more money. It's like planting a tree. You plant a small seed, your investment. You water it, add more money regularly, and over time, it grows into a big tree that gives you shade, financial security, and fruit returns. The most powerful part? The fruit has its own seeds and they plant themselves. That's compound interest. It's your money-making baby money, and then those babies grow up and make their own baby money. It's a beautiful, beautiful family reunion in your bank account. I didn't try to pick the next big stock. That's like trying to find one specific needle in a giant haystack of needles. Instead, I just bought the whole haystack. I put my money into simple, low-cost index funds. It's like betting on the entire economy to do well over time, which historically it does. Years have passed since that email. My life today doesn't look anything like it did back then. I'm not sleeping on an air mattress. I own my home. I have a portfolio that works for me 24/7, even when I'm sleeping. I'm not rich in the way you see in movies. I don't have a solid gold jet ski, but I have something much better. I have peace, I have control, I have freedom. The wealth isn't the point. The wealth is the tool that built the life. It's the freedom to know that if I got another devastating email tomorrow, I would be okay. My foundation is solid, not because of the money in the bank, but because of the discipline in my soul. That email was meant to be an ending. It was meant to break me, and for a while it did. But in the end, it was a gift. It was a forced reset button on a life that wasn't really working anyway. It divorced me from chaos. It divorced me from financial illiteracy. It divorced me from the guy who didn't know how to make his own bed. So if you're feeling lost, whether it's because of a bad breakup, a job loss, or just a vague sense that you're adrift, start small. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just make your bed, go for a walk, read 1 page, save $10, find that first domino, and give it a little push. You will be absolutely amazed at what starts to fall into place. And that right there is what being a boss visionary is all about. It's not about avoiding the hits that life throws at you. It's about using them to build a stronger foundation. The discipline to make the bed was a mindset hack. The budget and the investing plan were practical money tips. The whole journey was a life strategy for taking back control. So my question for you is, what's the first step you can take to become the visionary boss of your own life? Drop your answer in the comments below. Let's build this community of leaders together. If this story is the kind of powerful content you want more of, make sure you're subscribed to the Boss Visionary Hub. We are all here to unlock our next level together. Thanks for being part of the Hub. Keep building, and I'll see you in the next video.